Have you ever caught yourself thinking, what will I leave behind when I'm gone? It's a question many of us consider as we get older, especially when we hear people talking about grandchildren or passing traditions down the family line. But what if you don't have children, or your children live far away, or you're not close anymore? Does that mean you have nothing to offer the future? Absolutely not. Your life holds stories, lessons, and a quiet kind of wisdom that can enrich the world, regardless of whether you have kids. In fact, having no direct heirs can free you to share your insights more broadly, with neighbors, mentees, or entire communities who can benefit from what you've learned through the ups and downs of your journey. This video is about doing just that, leaving a legacy that resonates beyond bloodlines and leaves its mark in hearts, memories, and shared experiences. The word legacy might conjure up images of wills, fancy heirlooms, or huge donations. But a legacy is so much more than money or possessions. It's that intangible sense of who you are and what you stand for that lingers long after you've walked the earth. For some, it's the example of kindness they set in their neighborhood, or a particular skill they lovingly taught to friends. For others, it's the stories and lessons shared with an entire online community that they helped to build and nurture over time. It's not about scale, it's about impact, and it doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, or pushing 90. As long as you're here, you have a chance to shape how people remember you. That's the essence of a legacy. Maybe you've felt a little lost wondering how you'll be remembered if there aren't kids or grandkids to carry your name. But the truth is, we leave ripples in every life we touch, whether for a moment or an entire lifetime. Let's explore this together by looking at a few key lessons that almost anyone can pass along. Lessons that stand the test of time and make a difference, regardless of family ties. The first might be something you've already mastered, or it might be an area where you still have some growing to do: the art of gratitude. Gratitude isn't just about manners. It's the conscious act of noticing the good around us and acknowledging it with sincerity. Whether it's a friend who calls just to say hello or the warmth of sunlight on a chilly morning, passing on the lesson of gratitude could mean showing those around you how to find wonder in the small details, or how to express genuine appreciation in a world that's often in a hurry. Maybe you do this through a thoughtful note, a warm smile, or a quiet word of thanks at just the right moment. People remember how you make them feel. Your habit of gratitude can become a guiding light for others, teaching them that even in tough times, there's room for a little grace and thankfulness. Perhaps you've already seen how gratitude shifts your perspective. It doesn't erase challenges, but it cushions them, reminding you that beauty can coexist with pain. By demonstrating gratitude in everyday life, thanking the grocery clerk who bags your items carefully, pausing to compliment a neighbor's rose bush, or sending a handwritten note to a healthcare worker who's been kind, you show a practical way to stay open-hearted. That example, that spirit of thankfulness, can be absorbed by anyone around you, from a passing acquaintance to a longtime friend. It becomes part of your legacy, even if no one calls it that. They just know that around you, they feel valued. Another lesson that resonates deeply is resilience, the ability to adapt and bounce back after life's storms. If you've lived beyond 60, you've likely weathered plenty of them. Losses, disappointments, financial hardships, maybe even serious health scares. Each time you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going, you're modeling perseverance. And that quiet fortitude might be exactly what someone else needs to see to get through their own struggles. Resilience doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending life is all sunshine. It means facing hardship, acknowledging emotions, and still choosing to move forward with hope. Imagine how much that approach can impact a younger coworker who's worried about job security, a neighbor going through a divorce, or even a peer who's feeling isolated. By being open about the challenges you've faced and how you navigated them, you create a template for others to follow. Maybe you've learned that a daily walk lifts your mood, or that leaning on a certain friend helped you recover from a devastating loss. Sharing that knowledge, your personal coping strategies, your ways of finding peace, can serve as a beacon of hope for someone else. Gratitude and resilience. Two core principles that, if shared and practiced openly, become living lessons. No children required, just a willingness to let your light shine so others might catch a glimpse and be inspired. These lessons might seem simple, but their power is in how they shape daily life, how they nourish relationships, and how they turn ordinary moments into stepping stones for growth. Now that we've explored these first two legacy lessons, gratitude and resilience, let's keep going. Because there are a few more timeless truths that can illuminate someone else's path, even if they've never heard your name before. We've seen how gratitude and resilience can become powerful threads in the tapestry of your legacy, quietly shaping how others live, heal, and find hope. Perhaps as you listened, you felt a little spark inside, some memory of a time when expressing thanks or persevering through hardship made all the difference. That spark is the seed of influence, the gentle imprint you leave on this world, with or without children to carry your name. Yet there are more lessons waiting to be passed on. Lessons that can breathe warmth into someone else's life story, even if your paths only cross briefly. One of those lessons involves compassion, a word we hear often, but don't always stop to appreciate. Compassion isn't just about feeling sorry for someone or offering polite words of encouragement. It's about truly seeing another person's experience and responding with empathy. You might recall times when you needed kindness the most, and how it felt when someone offered you a soft place to land. Or maybe you're the one who reached out, giving a friend or neighbor a listening ear, a gentle hug, or a meal when they were at their lowest. Those moments matter more than we often realize. When you live with compassion, you show others how to break down walls of fear or judgment, how to be patient instead of critical. That can be your legacy. A legacy of empathy. You don't need a brood of children to pass this on. Compassion speaks to coworkers, casual acquaintances, even strangers you might meet once. Imagine an exhausted nurse you encounter at a clinic, or a lonely neighbor who rarely leaves home. A simple conversation, a kind gesture, or a note of genuine appreciation can stay with them long after you've parted ways. And if they, in turn, practice compassion with someone else, your influence ripples outward, reaching people you'll never meet. Maybe you've seen this in action. Perhaps you once offered a spare room to someone in need, or lent a patient ear to a friend going through divorce. Years later, you might learn they were inspired to help someone else, referencing the comfort you gave them. Compassion, in that sense, creates a living network of kindness, connecting hearts across neighborhoods and generations. Even if you think your kindness was a small drop in a vast ocean, it still adds up. People remember these gestures. They may not always have the words to thank you, but they carry your example within them, and when you're gone, that example can still whisper through their choices. Be gentle, be patient, remember what it felt like to be heard. Another legacy lesson you might share is curiosity, the spark that keeps us wondering, questioning, and learning no matter our age. It's easy to assume curiosity fades once we settle into familiar routines, but it doesn't have to. You can still teach yourself how to use a new app or learn about an unfamiliar topic just because it intrigues you. If you approach life with a mindset of, there's always more to discover, you create an atmosphere around you that's vibrant, open, and exciting. Picture the difference it could make for a young person who sees you in your 60s or 70s, eagerly picking up a new skill or reading about something fresh in the news. That defies the stereotype that older adults are set in their ways. By staying curious, you show them that learning isn't confined to classrooms or the early decades of life. It's a lifelong adventure. Think about the times you've asked a grandniece or a friend's child to explain their favorite music, or teach you a new dance step. When they see your eyes light up with genuine interest, you become a role model. You're saying, it's okay to keep evolving, to admit what you don't know, and to be thrilled about the unknown. Even if you never meet a single young person face to face, curiosity can filter into the community around you. Your neighbors might notice you tinkering with a new hobby. Your bookstore clerk might see you always buying something different from the last time, or someone at a library event might overhear your excitement about the latest topic you've discovered. Enthusiasm is contagious. It cracks open the idea that being old means being done with learning or surprise. So by sharing your curiosity through conversations, online forums, or just living your life out loud, you keep the door open for others to do the same. That's a priceless legacy. Gratitude, resilience, compassion, curiosity. Simple words, yet they carry deep resonance. Each can shape how people treat themselves and each other, creating communities that are kinder, stronger, more alive. And none of these lessons require you to have children in order to pass them on. They're universal, delivered through daily interactions, personal stories, and by simply living your beliefs in front of others. Of course, there are still more dimensions to leaving a legacy that resonates beyond your own household or family tree. Maybe you already sense what those might be, qualities or insights you've gleaned from decades of life experience. Or maybe you're still exploring what your unique lessons could be. In either case, as long as you carry these truths inside, you have a chance to share them with someone else. Let's keep going. We've looked at 4 powerful qualities: gratitude, resilience, compassion, and curiosity, and how each can become a living testament to who you are, resonating with those around you far more than you might realize. Even if you have no children to pass them down to, these lessons can shape the people who cross your path. Friends, neighbors, co-workers, or even strangers you meet in line at the grocery store. What you do and say can lift someone's spirit or plant a seed of change that grows in them long after you've parted ways. But let's talk about another dimension of legacy that sometimes hides in the background until it's too late. The art of storytelling. When you share stories, your experiences, memories, even the lessons you learned from your parents or grandparents, you create a bridge between generations, whether or not you have children of your own. Your life has been a journey of love, heartbreak, laughter, success, and struggle. Those stories are treasures, and they don't deserve to fade away when you do. Storytelling isn't just for professional writers or public speakers. It can happen in casual conversations, handwritten letters, or recordings you make on a smartphone to share with a niece, a neighbor, or even the internet at large. You might recall the day you left home for the first time, the moment you overcame a fear, or how you managed life-changing events with courage or creativity. These anecdotes can illuminate someone else's path. The younger generation in particular might absorb your wisdom more readily through a heartfelt story than through plain advice. A single tale of how you navigated a challenging time can become a guiding post for someone who feels lost. If they got through it, maybe I can too. And it's not just the big events that matter. Sometimes the small stories, like a detail about your first job, the way you spent Sunday afternoons with your mother, or that peculiar hobby you took up in your 20s, bring a sense of relatability. They show that life is made up of tiny moments, each contributing to who you become. Sharing these everyday memories helps others see the richness of a life fully lived, all the little facets that might otherwise go unmentioned. If you're comfortable with technology, you could record brief voice clips or video snippets of your memories, uploading them to a family sharing site or a social media platform. If that's not your style, a simple notebook or binder filled with stories can be just as precious. Imagine someone stumbling upon those pages years from now, discovering that you once traveled cross-country in a broken-down car, or that you coped with loss by planting a small garden and watching it flourish. It might shift their perspective, spark their curiosity, or give them hope when they need it most. That's the beauty of storytelling as a legacy. It transcends direct lineage and personal acquaintance. Once a story is told, it can find its way into unexpected places, reaching hearts you never even knew existed. Whether you choose to keep it intimate or share it widely, the act itself is one of generosity, a gift of hard-earned insight and raw human experience. Now let's move on to another kind of lesson, one often undervalued in a world that prizes achievement and busyness: the power of rest and presence. When you were younger, Maybe you felt compelled to work relentlessly, keep your schedule packed, and strive for the next milestone. But as we age, many of us discover that learning how to be still, to breathe, to simply exist in a moment without rushing, can be a profound source of peace and clarity. If you've reached a point where you appreciate quiet walks, unhurried cups of tea, or watching the sunset with nothing on your mind but gratitude, you have something incredibly valuable to share. In a world dominated by screens and notifications, showing younger folks or even peers how to unplug and be present can be a revelation. You don't need children for that. Your circle, your community, or your online following can benefit from your example. Let them see you take purposeful pauses, saying, "This time is sacred, even if it's just a few minutes." Let them hear your stories of how you discovered inner calm and how it shaped your relationships, health, and overall well-being. Maybe someone you know is battling burnout, convinced they have to accomplish a million things before they turn 30, 40, or 50. Your perspective, rooted in a lifetime of seeing how frantic energy can lead to stress or regret, could guide them toward a healthier approach. By living and modeling rest, by speaking openly about its benefits, you show that rest is not laziness but self-respect and renewal. It's a lesson that can ripple forward, changing the way entire communities relate to time and pace, even long after you've gone. Stories and the practice of rest, two more pieces in this mosaic of legacy. They complement gratitude, resilience, compassion, and curiosity, painting a fuller picture of what it means to live a life that nourishes both self and others. You don't need descendants to carry these truths forward. You just need to embody them, to whisper them through your actions so that someone else catches the spark. We've explored 6 powerful ideas: gratitude, resilience, compassion, curiosity, storytelling, and the gift of rest. Each one a quiet invitation to shape the world around you, no matter who inherits your family name. If you pause to reflect, you may notice how these lessons weave together into a tapestry of living wisdom. Each thread carries a piece of your journey, and the entire picture reveals that a legacy isn't bound by blood. It's nourished by every moment you share, every kindness you offer, every story you tell. So how do we bring these lessons into our daily lives in a way that truly resonates with others? For one, it's about being intentional, choosing to show gratitude even when things feel mundane or tough, letting your perseverance shine when faced with a setback, and seeking chances to show real empathy rather than mere politeness. When curiosity calls, answer it wholeheartedly, whether it's learning something new or revisiting an old passion in a fresh way. Listen to your heart's memories and let them become stories that spark recognition or courage in others. And in a world so caught up in productivity, let your example of stepping back for a quiet moment or an unhurried walk be a gentle reminder that stillness can lead to renewal, not stagnation. Maybe you'll find a friend who wants to practice these ideals with you. The two of you could schedule time each week just to trade stories, life lessons, or funny mishaps that taught you something deeper about living well. Or you could decide to volunteer together, placing compassion at the center of your routine. You might also join a local reading circle or a club that encourages open-minded exploration, tapping into your shared curiosity. There's something magical about growing side by side with someone else, each person's perspective enriching the others. And if you ever find yourself thinking, "But who am I to teach these lessons?" remember that your life experience is invaluable precisely because it's yours. You've laughed, cried, learned, and survived in ways no one else has. Even if you don't have a platform or a big audience, sharing from your own journey, whether in a small group, an online space, or casual chats, can impact people beyond what you can see. That's the quiet miracle of a true legacy. It expands, gently, carried along by the memories and actions of those who witness your example. In the end, these lessons aren't complicated. They're everyday choices to live with awareness and kindness, to embrace discovery and rest, to offer empathy and encouragement. Yet their impact can be profound, touching lives you may never know and reminding others that a full life doesn't hinge on having children or being famous or wealthy. It hinges on a willingness to remain open-hearted, to keep learning, to share what you have inside you so others can grow. So take a moment now to think, which of these lessons feels most alive in me? Which do I wish I practiced more? There's no deadline, no final test, just a promise you make to yourself to try a little more each day. Maybe you'll start a simple gratitude ritual at bedtime, or reach out to an old acquaintance with empathy instead of impatience. Maybe you'll finally record those family tales or personal memories you've been holding close, or allow yourself a few minutes of genuine rest in a park, phone off, eyes watching the sway of the trees. And if you'd like to share your thoughts, your progress, or your struggles, consider leaving a comment below. Maybe someone else reading your words will think, "That sounds just like me," and feel a weight lift from their own doubts. Let's nourish a community where we inspire each other to become living, breathing messages of gratitude, resilience, compassion, curiosity, storytelling, and restful presence. Because while we each walk our path uniquely, there's beauty in realizing we're all connected by our hearts, our hopes, and our desire to leave something meaningful behind. If these ideas resonated with you, a simple like helps more people discover this conversation, and a quick subscribe ensures you won't miss future reflections on living fully at any age. Every new lesson you learn or memory you share can become another thread in someone else's tapestry, stretching onward in ways no one can fully predict. That is legacy at its finest. Not just what you leave in your will, but what you leave in people's hearts. Here's to you, your wisdom, and the lessons only you can pass on. May they shine long after your footsteps fade, lighting paths for others, inviting them to live bravely, kindly, and honestly. Remember, no matter where you are in life's journey, you still have so much to give, and that gift once shared can echo long into the future.